like to work with the great Francis Ford Coppola on such an experimental film?
It was probably the most fun I've ever had making a movie. That's the first time I said that in all this line, but it's true. Yeah, he's just a real personal and professional inspiration because life is grand, and he sees it.
About a year ago, I was surprised that people were talking about 3D with glasses as this breakthrough when, of course, I've been around and I remember the 3D popularity with Wanna Devil and then years later with House of Wax, and I like 3D in movies. I don't like to watch the whole movie with glasses, but I do think that 3D is a wonderful technological adornment and should be used. But I felt as cinema is too wonderful a form to have not to have bigger surprise for us than just 3D. I mean, it must have something up its sleeve that we haven't thought about because it's, as you said, it's only 100 years old, 120 years old. Theater is 6,000 years old, and the epic novel is 7,000 years old, and music is as old as there have been human beings. So give cinema, which is one of the more wonderful art forms that have ever been, give it the respect to know that it can do a lot more than what we're doing with it, and it's going to take your generation and your kids and your kids' kids to even start to get a little bit at what it has to offer.
I think that's why Francis picked me to write the music, is that when we first met, there was no plans in mind. He heard me doing an interview on NPR about the importance of the live experience and how, as a musician, I find that to be what has value. In a digital age where there's endless supply and endless demand of any song, you can find anything you'd ever want. While people want it, it has no value. It's not worth anything. It's the things that they can't download that have value, which is being there, which is being at a show and at a performance. You can't replicate it. It's the only way it exists in that moment in time, and that's it. So that doesn't exist in the film world. And I think he heard me talking about it in the music room. He invited me out, and he's like, well, how could we apply this idea to cinema? How can we make a cinema that's like the performing arts? And we're like, with technology, you can, manipulate live HD video files, and the director could actually be there calling up the shots live, and the musician could be arranging the score differently night to night, so that and rather than presenting this movie in 30 cities and for 30 days, you're doing it in one theater in one city for one night, and that's the only time you're going to see it. The same way that a play would have been toured, or a circus, or anything like that. Any sort of art form that evolved prior to the age of reproduction.
I did want to go on a tour with the film live, with the musicians, with Dan Deacon, and maybe some percussionists, and perform it for people, because now, as I was trying to explain today, we have the means that we can tailor-make the film, the experience, just like an opera, to the audience, and if they like something, we can give them more of it, and if they're bored, we can take them a new way, and film has that capability, and I'd love to do it. I don't know how many cities I can really do, but I'm up for it.
With the technology that this film is using, does it change the acting process for you at all?
No, because you want every take to be fresh and original, and that you're thinking thoughts in the moment that the character's thinking the thoughts. But in this case, where there might be different takes used in different versions of the film, it just keeps your energy up, because it's kind of closer to what actors' creative life is about. You kind of prepare for this moment of mystery and then find out what happens along. It's that same moment that the audience is finding it out, and it was a real thrill to know that there could be different versions of the film. It is exciting today because it's the first time we've goofed around with the idea of doing a live version of the show.
It seems to me that we want to have as much life in our art as possible. Sports, I mean, wouldn't it be terrible if sports was all determined by commercial breaks and I mean, it's exciting at the end of of a game that you don't know what's going to happen. Well, why should you, deep down in your heart, when you go to a movie, you know what it's going to be? You go to a Coen Brothers movie, you don't know what it's going to be, and I vote for that.